Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Phil.
How are you?
I'm good, Phil Sanders.
This is high quality professional recording. That's what we're doing right now.
Excellent. This is to the audience.
That's good. I hope I can already see some like lag and stuff happening in the video. I don't know if it's internet or my computer chugging along, but we're not gonna fuck with it anymore. Okay, we're gonna leave it, and we're gonna record the whole thing.
It's all good because you
Uh,
know what? We will be so entertaining that it won't
yeah,
matter that the quality's bad.
yeah, yeah. You know, if people are worried about quality, as we were discussing earlier, that's what I say. And if you couldn't hear that in the audio, it was an obscenity saying, "Who cares about the quality?" This is going to be audio as well. I've been doing these video and audio. Um, Jenny, tell us a little bit about who you are, Dr. Rinker.
Yes. Okay. So my name is Jenni Rinker. I suppose my full name. Screw my full name. Yeah, and I have a PhD, which is therefore why I could technically be called Dr. Rinker or Drinker. You put them together. Uh,
I always love
but
it.
I but I don't do that because that's very silly. Also, I live in Denmark where we don't really stand upon this idea of hierarchies in terms of like if you have a PhD, therefore you should get a title and stuff. It's just my students
For
call me by
sure.
my first name, which is kind of fun.
This is your highest level of education, like black and white. It doesn't mean anything beyond that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty fun. Like you just, it's teaching at a university, which is what I do since I didn't get into too much about myself. Is it's nice because I don't really, my students aren't, little peons below me, but they're just colleagues that don't happen to know the stuff I know, and then my job is to teach them what I know, and then they go off and teach it to other people.
That's so legit. Now I know you as a unicyclist, of course. That's how we met. We've obviously been at many events and things like that together.
It's true.
But I don't even think I know if I thought about how did you start unicycling? Like how did this begin for you?
That is so that was like 9 years ago, I think. This was 9 years ago, 11. It was a previous relationship. And the person in question was also a unicyclist. So I started learning in secret as a birthday gift, basically, because I thought it'd be fun to be like, oh, look,
If
girlfriend
you
can.
think I have the patience to edit all that out, you are mistaken.
Oh my God. All right.
We'll say,
That's
no.
okay.
I'll fuss with it. Yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going. I'll stop interrupting.
It's fine. It's all good. It is ancient history at this point, so I don't think anyone's gonna care. But yeah, so did start learning in secret, and then we unfortunately broke up not too long after I started learning. But by that point, I had made this whole plan for myself. I went freaking nuts. Like I was going out and riding every day. And let me make this very, very clear. I am not gifted at unicycling. It is not something that comes natural to me. I went out every day and practiced for like over an hour on this basketball court in North Carolina where I was getting my PhD. And after like finally 2 weeks, I could almost make it across the basketball court. Like it's a half court basket. Like this is the level that we're talking. So when people are like, "Oh yeah, I learned to unicycle in a day," I'm like, "That's great,
I don't
good
know
for
who those
you."
people are. They're garbage. They're garbage people.
They're just very talented. So
Hmm.
anyway, so I had put a lot of effort into it, and I had this plan of like start learning this tricks and doing that and that and that, and like down the line, and then broke up with said person, and but I'd already kind of committed. It was this huge thing, and so I just decided not to quit. I had finally, after like 3 weeks or would actually ride a bit, and I was just so proud of this uh, progress that I had made. I was like, screw it, I'm not going to quit. Um,
It's fun.
so
It's weird. It
that's
turns out to be fun all by itself.
It did. It was kind of. And then eventually I went to my first event, which I think the first one I went to was Nationals in 2013, which is where I met you, Phil Sanders, I believe.
Oh God, it is. Was that in Madison?
No, it was in Butler County, Pennsylvania.
Could not have been there. I did
Oh
not go to
no,
Butler. I
did
think
I?
we met in
Unicon 2015.
Moab.
Oh, it could have been.
Could have been Moab. It could have been a
No, it must have been.
nationals. I
It must have been 2014 Unicon in Montreal.
that no. We knew each other by then. We knew each other by then for
Are you?
sure. Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
maybe it was
Cause
2014 Moab
maybe, cause like
because I didn't start writing Muni until 2013 in Butler County
I
at that
see.
in the UCC. So it could have been
I'm trying.
2014 Moab.
It's possible because, like, by the time we were in Montreal, you had already heard like the whale story, so to speak. We'll see if that makes it into the podcast. And so like I remember that moment specifically. You knew some of my most ridiculous stories by the time we were in Montreal.
Yes, because you told it. You told it around the fire. You told it around the
Yeah,
fire at 2014 Moab.
yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful story, Phil Sanders.
Oh, thanks. Oh God, the pain to bring that up. That'll be an episode all by itself. I can't believe I haven't told that story. That's gonna definitely be an episode by itself. Uh, so you got into Muni in Butler,
More,
where was
well, almost. So I bought my first Muni in Butler, but I had gone that year to the Asheville Muni Fest, which is in Asheville, North Carolina. I just
mm,
liked unicycling, heard about it, was like, oh, this sounds like fun. And like this was back when the forums were still a thing, so like wrote on the forums, hey, I kind of want to go to this. I don't have a Muni. Someone was like, oh yeah, you can totally borrow mine. I ended up sharing a tent site with a couple random people. I had no idea who they were because that's how Muni works. Got some really good
totally.
friends and had an amazing time. I was like, I liked Muni so much because I've grown up hiking and camping and out in the woods and stuff. Never thought I would enjoy Muni, but I was trying to learn tricks and stuff, and then turns out tricks are really not for me, and I was getting really frustrated. And then I went into Muni, and I was like, "This is so fun. Why have I not been doing this whole time?"
The more I think about it, Muni really is the most like all-inclusive area of unicycling.
Yeah,
I talk about this on another episode or something, but like, it's like it's fun because it's advanced riding and everyone can participate at like their level. Uh, I think it's some of the other disciplines, tricks like you were saying, like it's hard to get into tricks, and it's harder even still to ride with other riders who do tricks because you can be so far away from your friends in tricks that they can't even like hang out with you sometimes.
yep. And the
Yeah.
other struggle that I've always had as a unicyclist is I am scared of everything all the time. And so you need to be able to just throw that away when you're learning tricks, right? You need to be able to say, fuck it, and then, flip something anyway. And that's something I have never been able to do. Like, it just does not
Yeah,
work.
there's
That part of
definitely
my brain.
a line you'll always have to step over, sacrificing your body or your fear or whatnot. But I mean, you could be like, I'm just gonna walk this section. It's fine. Like, it's fine. I have no pride tied up in this. I just, I just
Exactly.
want to have fun with people.
That's exactly it. And so that's what I've kind of liked about Muni was that there was not really any pressure to be good. Um, Actually, that's something we could get into. If we want to get really vulnerable, Phil Sanders,
Tell me.
we can start talking about vulnerabilities and stuff. But yeah, so that's what I liked about Muni at the beginning was that you could just get up and walk if you wanted to.
Totally. So talk about vulnerability in unicycling. I think because people are always like worried, especially if you're that rider who's never been to an event before. You're always worried about how good you are next to everyone else. You know, oh, come on, computer program, give me a break right now. Our both of our camera syncs are going like this. They're going bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller, and that's the thing that's being recorded right now. That's what's being recorded. So, okay. But come back. Tell me what does vulnerability in unicycling mean to you?
Well, I mean, I haven't really talked about this very much. I mean, to close friends and stuff, but not publicly. It's
The
something
world
I've been
needs to
wanting.
hear.
sorry. It's when I realized I haven't enjoyed unicycling for the last like 2 or 3 years, really.
Oh.
Um, I know, and I've been doing a lot of thought, especially this year, considering that I haven't been able to travel, I haven't had these distractions, which so it affords a lot of time to kind of think. Um, and what I've kind of accidentally done is I painted myself into a corner. So what I mean by that is um, I've done a couple of really cool trips that I've been very happy with and liked doing. I was given the honor to be on the Chris Holm team for 2 years in a row. This is
Oh,
my
so
3 years, I
jealous.
think now. Yeah, 3 years. Sorry. Yeah, but this is the last year I stepped down. And the what's happened?
Gonna give him, gonna steal that spot.
Go, Phil, take
Oh,
it,
no,
please.
after the unicycle I just bought, there's no way. Chris is gonna look at me and be like, get the hell away from my team. Maybe we can
Oh,
talk about, I don't know if
okay.
you
Well,
see the Instagram and stuff, but I got a new unicycle.
I haven't looked at Instagram in a while. It's
It's good, it's good.
related
Stay
to
away from it.
all this
It's
stuff. Yeah.
poison.
So no, Instagram's great. I mean, you can follow us anyway. I like my Instagram feed. I think it's quite healthy and interesting, but I know how it can be poisonous. Um, but anyway, so what happened with the unicycling is I think I went and put too much pressure on myself to be better. So for the last like 2 or 3 years, unicycling has become a source of guilt in the sense that
Ooh,
every time I
with that.
don't unicycle, if I do another sport, if I go do something else instead of, or like if I decide to lay on the couch because I don't feel like going out for a ride, then I feel guilty because I should have gone out and done that. I should have gone. And then when I do go out for a ride, then it's, oh, I should have ridden better. Oh, that's an easy, so many tries. Why am I so scared? It's just a bunch of negativity
Totally.
kind of bundled up with that. And sorry.
That's fine. That's
So
fine. Go for
then
it.
then the other thing that happened this year that you know about that I don't think I posted about either yet, I've been meaning to, was the weird anxiety I started to get while riding on paved roads. Paved
Yeah,
roads.
yeah. You're just worried. You just are envisioning this crash that's gonna happen or something like that.
Right. There's just this weird impending sense of doom. And it's completely irrational, which is someone who's terribly logical. I'm just like, there was no trigger. I didn't have a big crash. Just for some reason, suddenly my body decided that paved roads were terribly scary. And anytime riding on flat ground. So then it was just another bit of like kind of stress, negativity, kind of associated with the unicycle. So all of that, all of those things, kind of kind of combined, and I realized that I don't know, I think I need to take the pressure off myself and have it be fun again.
Totally. I
So
agree 100%. Do you subscribe? I had only heard this year, so don't let me say like, oh, you should do this, that, or the other thing. But I have with this shutdown been really concerned about my job, as many people are. My job as a climbing instructor has gone from being one of the most thrilling and rewarding experiences I've had in this thing we call life to literally non-existent in the entire universe, like with the blink of an eye. Um, and so I talked to my brother. My brother is very successful in his career. I'm very impressed with him in where he's taken his career. And he subscribes to the idea that anxiety is your mind's way of telling you it's time to change something. And now, obviously, anxiety can come from many other sources and places and things in your brain. But, if you feel that nagging anxiety, that, every time you do something, you feel that pressure, it could be your brain saying, like, you need to do something else. You got to change how you're doing this or how you're approaching it. That's where this podcast came from, by the way, is anxiety.
woo,
um,
wow, that's cool.
so, do you think maybe there's something about your writing that you could start looking into to make it enjoyable again? Or is it maybe taking a step away from writing?
I think it's combo. And I agree 100% with the analysis of moving somewhere else. I've seen a similar pattern in me when I was pretty young. So I swam competitively until I was like 21. That was the sport I did. And then I picked up unicycling after that. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm old. older,
Oh my
whatever.
god.
Um, yeah, right, gray hair.
So old.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go get my walker. Yeah, my day, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was swimming like 3 days a week, and then when you like level up to the next level, then it becomes like 6 days a week.
Totally.
And then eventually you get up to 9 times a week. But um, so when we went from 3 to 6, suddenly I was swimming like every day after school. And a thing is like suddenly I just didn't want to go. I didn't want to go swimming at all. I just wanted to quit the whole thing. And my mom convinced me to stay in it. She's like, "No, we'll drop you back down to 3. Like you don't need to go every day after school, um, and then just try this out. And then if you want to get more days a week, we can do that." And that's what we did. And then I ended up swimming for 10 more years after that. So I think this is just something kind of similar. I think I've just done it so much that it's no longer a hobby; it's become a chore. And so that's why I think
Sure.
it's yeah,
I
so that's
definitely feel
part of
that.
why I want to, yeah, right? It's something about when you do something so much and then, it's like something you have to do and not something you want to do, then it's just not fun.
I
So,
feel the same way about Muni sometimes. Just like I like Muni. I have a really nice Chris Home Mountain unicycle, 27.5 brake, all that jazz, and I love it. But man, whenever I go out to ride it, I like riding my mountain unicycle with people. That's the fun part. Is like doing things, sessioning things with people. But when I go out to like try and get better at Muni by myself, so I'm like more prepared, I just feel like I'm grinding. Obviously there's exercise and a benefit to it. It does make me better, but I never ever feel bad about going to the skate park with my unicycle. I never feel bad about seshing tricks, even if I get ragey and throw my unicycle.
that's what I think.
Like, like I that still feels good, no matter the rage. I'm working on things in my brain that I feel like I want to work on, and even
Yeah.
though I start pushing my unicycle up the hill, and I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? And then you get down. Did you remember the hill that's in my town? Super crazy. Because yeah, you came up for the Phil Sanders unicycle weekend, right?
Yeah, I totally did. That's why I'm
Yeah,
laughing.
yeah,
I remember we went to the skate park and you got a flat in like 3 seconds
yeah.
and then you had to
It
change it and
happens.
then you got ragey and threw your unicycle and I felt like kind of apologizing to the skate park kids. It was really fun. I was
They're
kind of like,
so
it's
used
fine,
to
he
it,
always
which is
does.
messed up. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, the 10-year-olds are like, this is a good day.
Oh, it's that guy. It's that guy. We know him. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. See, this
You,
time he didn't hit us with the unicycle, so it's fine.
Phil, do you have a shirt that just says like I'm always angry or something?
I really should.
You
Uh,
should get that
I
on
feel like
there.
I've gotten better, but I still have those days. But that hill though, you push for like 30 minutes to get to the top of it because of how steep it is, and then
Is this Muni?
Muni, yeah, yeah, in Spokane. And then when you ride down, and you're down that whole hill in like 3 minutes.
That's how
And
hills go.
so it's like kind of painful sometimes.
But Phil, what if you just learned to run up the hill?
Yeah, with a unicycle.
You would get so
Like,
strong.
yeah, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll get strong in other ways. This is why people don't get good at unicycling, guys. This is what all unicyclists do. They go, oh yeah, yeah, I'll train. I'll train really hard. I'll train really hard. 6 months later, you haven't ridden once. Jenny, getting interrupted by parents. Typical.
It's fine.
This is a live podcast, and
Yeah,
she is talking to
we're
her parents
recording
right
just so you know.
now.
Yeah. It's fine. It's totally fine. Yeah. Okay.
Hi,
Bye.
hi, hi. Is that your mom? I don't think I've ever seen your mom before.
That was my mom.
I've seen your
Uh,
dad before.
have you seen my dad or my stepdad? You see my dad.
Because we ran into each other
Yeah,
with
that's
your, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Moab. Yeah, yeah. That was my dad. I don't have a picture of my mom. Well, I do, but that's an old picture. Oh, here's one. Here's one. Here's my mom. I have no idea if the video is going to come through. This is my mom.
Oh, nice. That's exactly who I saw behind you for a brief moment.
Well, good. It's good to know that she's
Yeah.
not been replaced by like a
it's
doppelganger or
it's
something.
good that she doesn't have pictures of weird people in her house that are that aren't her.
Well, I mean, she's got pictures of me. Does that count?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, good.
So what do you think you want to do with your unicycling right now to make it fun again? Do you think you're taking a step back? Do you think maybe it's time to pick up that 20-inch and look at some more tricks or something instead of doing all
Yeah.
that
So,
distance?
yeah, all right. No, not that I was doing that much. Well, definitely a step back. So that's part of it is like not feel like trying to get over this feeling of I'm feeling guilty because I'm not riding. So I've started playing Ultimate Frisbee again this year, which is awesome. I've really missed that bit of kind of team sport. Um, and probably start climbing a bit more again because I've gotten out of. So I'm
Oh,
hoping to get
so good.
right. I know. So, and I think that's, oh, and I'm also, this isn't sports, but in terms of time, I've also gotten into Dungeons and Dragons and I'm a
Oh yeah.
dungeon master,
Oh, nice, nice.
right? So I get to call the shots.
So many people have been just really loving the D&D during the pandemic. I'm like the only
It's,
person I know practically who doesn't play D&D. I just got too much stuff going on.
it's a lot. Well, and it's also like D&D is not for everyone, I would say for sure. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I don't like FIFA sports games on
Totally.
computer consoles. So it's fine. But anyway, so, yeah, so unicycling, I'm not sure. I think the answer is I don't know what I want out of it. And I'm also fine with that because for so long I've had this kind of idea of must be better, must do this, must write articles, post pictures, do all this stuff. And I've been really enjoying not doing any of that. I can't remember the last time I posted something on Instagram. No, I do. It was like a couple days ago. I did it here in Florida because I felt guilty that I hadn't posted in like
Oh,
weeks.
don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty at all. Oh God, I deleted my Facebook this year. I don't know if you
Nice.
saw that.
I did not. But I would love to do that if Denmark did not organize everything on Facebook.
Yeah,
Like
I had
what
to. Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
it's just no, I was just gonna rant about how literally everything is organized on Facebook. Not literally, but like basically everything is organized on Facebook in Denmark, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm sure this is like the train that people are on, but like, I've always been wishy-washy about like data collection and stuff like that. Oh, I should get rid of Google too, frankly. But uh, and then I watched The Social Dilemma, and I was already hemming and hawing about it. And after watching that, I was like, okay, I want this, and I just ripped the Band-Aid off, and
Nice.
I just I posted a thing like, okay, I'm pulling the plug. If people want to stay in contact with me, get in contact with me, and I'm out. And I do not regret it for a second. I do miss. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I do miss unicycle chat in the respect that I do like talking to people, but I do not miss all the absolute garbage conversations in unicycle chat. You know who you are. I apologize for none of this. Uh, yeah.
What do you? I mean, surely the 10,000th post of "Hey guys, I'm just getting into unicycling and I really like it. Hi, I want to buy a 20-inch. What should I get?"
Yeah, yeah. I not to shit on people who are getting into unicycling. By all means,
It's true.
the community is there to help, guys. But I think it's hard to tell people. And I've seen this post 1,000 times. There's only so many ways to tell people that there's no secret to getting better. You have
Yeah,
to put in the time. There's no trick to free mounting. There's no trick to getting more
I disagree.
revolutions.
There is a trick to free mounting. Free mounting was a bad example, but riding, I would say, there's no trick to riding when
Yeah,
people are just like, I can only go 5 feet or something, and then they
I
fall.
I would make an argument that there are better tips and tricks to understanding how to free mount, but to get it down to the point where you
Oh
can
yeah,
do it
yeah, you just gotta
consistently and
practice.
repeatably is just practice. And
Agreed. I
yeah,
will also just add an addendum though. I
yeah,
can't count the number of times that I've missed that second foot and then I clip the pedal and just face plant, usually in front of a
totally.
lot of people that are watching you, and you're just
And for
like,
anyone
hey.
who thinks they like go to free mount and they miss the pedal and they fall over and like, oh no. I've seen like literally the best riders in the world do that shit like in competition. Where like they're like getting amped and pumped and like flexing the muscles and like, okay, and they go to step on, they just miss their pedal and whiff and they're like, ugh. That happens to everyone, guys. It happens to the
I
best
think that's
riders in the world. Remember that.
and that's what keeps unicyclists humble.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
because like stupid shit like that can happen to
Or
anyone.
you watch someone like bomb the craziest, gnarliest like rocks and stuff, and then we're riding through the parking lot, and like one pebble gets in the tire, just knocks them right off. Sorry, that clap was really loud. Everyone on the audio. Just knocks him over. Just knocks him over. Ryan Crimsader
Yo.
just eats it, like going over a little
Uh,
stick. And but yeah, happens to everyone. It's
the
fine.
pity. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, yeah. He's like literally one of the nicest guys.
I mean, if I was going to like between him and Ryan Reynolds, like if I was
That's a
holding them
good
both off
comparison.
the cliff and had to pick someone, I
Mm,
think I would pull them both up and I would jump off the cliff
I
instead.
don't know. I think. Listen, Ryan Reynolds has had a good life. Okay, uh, Ryan Crimsader, he's probably going to do more for the world long term than
That's
be
true. He
famous.
is like the female Mother Teresa.
The female Mother
Wait,
Teresa.
male Mother Teresa.
Yeah, he's like the female Mother Teresa. Ryan Crimsader, the female Mother Teresa. Another person who's probably never going to listen to this, Ryan Crimsader. Those unicyclists who are like the best unicyclists in the world, yet completely uninvolved in the world of unicycling. Sorry if we're talking shit about all these amazing unicyclists, guys. We're just,
We love
it's
all
because
of
we love
you.
you. It's because we love you. Uh, Jenni, looking back on your previous unicycle life and experience, what would you say has been your most favorite event that you've been to? Let's say been to as a rider, because I know you've been involved in lots of events.
I hate this sort of question because they're all really great.
Or then,
Um,
yeah, go for it. Don't let me change the question.
and I'm just trying to. I have to. Okay, there. Pretty much all of the Unicons I've been to, I have very much liked for various reasons. Um, but one trip that I just really liked that was going to Kazakhstan 2 years ago. I think now. I think it was 2018.
You've been to
I
Kazakhstan? That
did.
sounds so awesome.
Yeah. So there's several unicyclists there, and one of them, her name is Nastya, and she organizes an event called Almaty. Oh no, Almaty Wheel. I can't remember because it's like one event, but there's a bunch of different events that happen in the same event. Um, but one of the things that she does, I didn't get to go on this trip, which I was kind of bummed about, but it's like they organize a 6 day supported tour like in Kazakhstan. So they like go from
Oh
place to
my
place.
god.
Yeah. And they're just like riding around and the terrain is just beautiful. It looks so amazing. And I was really bummed that due to my schedule, I couldn't get to go to that part of the event. But that looks incredible. But the part I did get to go to is they had then like a kind of after that 6 day trip, then they came back to the town of Almaty, which is a city in Kazakhstan. And we stayed in Nastya's apartment. And so in Kazakhstan, of course, because it's old USSR country, they primarily speak Russian. Of course, the Kazakh people also speak, I would assume, Kazakh.
For
So
sure.
yeah, and I had like zero Russian experience. So I'm just going here to be like, ah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
running around. And
Nah.
which was the best. And I tried to learn some Cyrillic while I was there. So like they would write English words in Cyrillic, and I'd try to learn it, which was really fun. But I got to meet writers that I don't normally hang out with because it was primarily Russian writers or Kazakh writers, and usually like if we go to like EUC or something, there's not that many people from Russia, for example.
Totally,
Um,
totally.
there are a couple for sure, but not. It's primarily European countries. So um, and that trip was just so fun. So we had just like it was just a good group of people. We had six of us, and I think roughly around six, and that's a good number usually because you're not too many that it becomes difficult to organize things, but you're not too few. Like you have a really nice time, and everyone I met was just, I mean, standard unicycle community, amazing,
Friendliness.
friendly. We had fun. We, some of us we couldn't really speak, communicate very well, but we still like kind of made it work.
Totally, totally. You see
Yeah,
someone do a bit, and you're like, that was great. Nice work.
yeah, or just hanging around and just like a lot of pointing and then like saying basic words. It was great. Um, and yeah, just got to kind of go around the city. And then we had a day where we went to like a bike park that had just opened, which was basically they just had this random like bowl somewhere not too far away from the city, and they just had gone like and carved trails into it, so you could just like kind of free ride all around. And they had a tiny ass ski lift, so you could lift up, and the ski lift was like
Oh my
a couple hundred
god.
yards, but it was so great because then you got at the top, and then you could just come down, and you could just do that.
I would love to go riding somewhere that had a ski lift, so I didn't have to do one solitary iota of uphill.
Yeah, that was really fun. And then there was a second day with a race day, but I mean, like, so there was so Almaty is actually pretty well known. There's a lot of like um, trail runs that happen there because so Almaty is this city that's nested in the foot of these mountains, and they're beautiful mountains, and I'm completely forgetting their names right now. I've got it probably Alato because that's what my yeah I've got the sticker.
Oh, nice.
Dun, da, da. There we go. Almaty means apple, which is why everything is apple themed.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's
That's cool.
from the race. But yeah, so I mean, even though it wasn't like I didn't get to go on the 6 day trip, which I was kind of bummed about, it was one of those events that like you think back and you just get like a warm feeling in your heart. So I'm looking forward to going back someday and renting a car and seeing more of Kazakhstan as a country because it's beautiful. It's really, really pretty. So
That's cool. That's cool. Man, I feel like the only pretty place I've been is Moab, practically from uni.
I mean, anywhere in the
Uh,
Southwest U.S. is pretty dang pretty, I would say.
that's that's like most of the riding in Washington is very beautiful as well.
Yeah.
And what's the where was the riding in? If people are gonna hate me, in Montreal, that place was pretty incredible as well.
Oh, yes, it was. Though Benoit, I still not sure I like him for that
Sorry.
10K cross country trail.
I
Woo.
heard it was rough. If you talk to anyone who writes the rulebook, they'll say it's the World Championships. Toughen up or get out.
No, it was actually pretty great. I have a fond memory because also that was back when I had like just started uni. I didn't know how to use a brake. That like I learned to use a brake at Montreal actually because we
I,
had the downhill
I
practice days.
still didn't know how to use a brake.
Yeah, don't push too hard, I guess.
Yeah, or you'll just really fly off and eat it.
Yep.
I've had these magic moments with the brake where like you go down this like section or whatever and you touch your brake a little bit and you're like, oh, I get it, I feel it, like and you get through and then you try it again and just eat shit like a second later.
Yep.
Squeeze too hard.
Yep. So Montreal was also
Kazakhstan.
yeah.
Uh, you've also
I
worked.
would love to organize a unicycle trip to Kazakhstan. So if people want to,
That would be cool. Oh man,
yeah.
as soon as the world is the world again, I would love to go and ride in a completely foreign place.
Well, the Almaty Freeride Festival, like Nastia's doing it, I think every year, so that's always a thing. But I also want to do a
Oh
trip,
damn.
maybe not, maybe combined, maybe not. But I also want to do a trip where we just get group of people, get a road, and then just get the fuck out and
Yeah, just ride our brains out and live our lives. Lifetime experience. My dream ride. I don't know if this will ever happen. God, if anyone was ever like into this, like doing a supported ride, I have always had a crazy dream to ride all of the Great Wall of China.
hasn't someone
I
done
ha-
that?
I don't know if anyone's ridden the whole thing because I know there are like sections that where it's like broken up and not there. You can hike the whole thing even
Yeah.
through like the jungle and stuff like that, but there are large sections that are like days away from like the last section of the wall, in unmaintained parts for tourism. But my understanding is that you can do the whole thing.
Huh.
I would have to look up to see if anyone's done it. Maybe someone has done like uh, the whole. Oh my god, my words. Someone's done like the whole length of wall that's like maintained, but I don't know if anyone's done like the whole thing. Because isn't it like super long, like 6,000 miles or something like that?
I
Uh,
probably wouldn't join you on that, but I can like cheer you from afar. I would do it with a bicycle.
China. How long is the Great Wall of China? Oh
How man? How far?
It's 13,000 miles.
I think you might want to rethink that goal.
You know what? No.
Why
I'm gonna
don't?
say no. I'm not gonna rethink it. I think it would take you like at least a year though, probably,
Well,
to do that whole
how
thing.
many miles a day would you ride over this wall?
Here, what does it say? 13,000. Let's do some 13,000.
You do 40 miles a day? That's probably a bit much. 20 miles a day? No,
Oh
you can
my
hike
God.
that.
13. It was 13,100. So divided by 365. Oh, that's a lot of miles a day. That's a lot of miles a day. It's gonna take you more than a year.
That's what I thought. Yeah. But do it
Yeah,
in sections.
that's
Do it in sections. Plan out sections. And then you can be
sure,
like, for
sure.
this year, we'll do this 100 and 200, 300 miles.
See, this is why I need to talk to people like you about it. People much smarter than myself. An idiot like me would go and try to do it in one push and die in the Chinese jungle somewhere, eaten by tigers.
Well, that would suck because then the world would be deprived of this podcast.
That's true. But I mean, if I do get eaten by tigers, probably just one tiger, they hunt by themselves. Tell that story to other people. Tell them that's the way I wanted to go. Riding my unicycle in China, eaten by a tiger.
I will do this. I will tell the world, Phil Sanders.
Uh, what if you okay? Impossible ideas. Like if you could create your dream event or dream ride. You're saying like, oh, get to people ride through Kazakhstan. What would be your dream like event or ride to do with people? People have to come to this thing.
Um, dream event or ride with me. Well, I kind of already said the whole Kazakhstan road trip thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be pretty dang cool. There's a trail. Now I've forgotten which trail it is. It's been a while since I thought about it. I don't know, actually.
I
That's a
have
good
another
question.
I have another dream trip that just came back to me in this moment, but I'm gonna hold on to it. I don't want to give it away, just in case someone has a tiny bit more motivation than me.
Yeah,
Uh,
don't do it.
yeah, I'm holding on to the dream trip. Somebody else knows what it is, but I'm gonna hold on to it. We'll
Well,
see.
I can
I
say
just had
sorry. One thing. I mean, the thing is, I wanted to do this with two wheels, so I don't know if that's acceptable.
yeah, whatever. It's judgy of me to say no. This is a unicycle podcast. No bikes allowed. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
you could, as long as unicyclists could come on the trip with you.
Yes. Well, my friend Kirsten Goldstein, we've been talking about to South Korea and biking around South Korea, like bike packing.
That I really wish I could have gotten to South Korea. It's like the one I just think about missing all the time. I just haven't been to the Asian part of the world, and I don't know. I'm like into anime and green tea and all that stuff. So like I definitely want to go like that direction. K-pop,
I
sign me up for
I
that one.
had no expectations for South Korea because I hadn't done any research. I was just like, cool, we're just gonna go and we get the pee and we gotta help out because I was on the helping with the organizing committee, and I freaking loved it. Our hosts were amazing. I like one of my best memories of Unicon is the day, maybe it was 2 days before registration opened. They took us out for Korean barbecue at like a traditional Korean barbecue place, and then like we eat this, and so it was all of us just like sitting around this, the grills and all the middle, and they're like cooking food. And then I accidentally took a bite of a green chili because I saw someone else do it. And then turns out it was a fucking spicy chili. And then like my face is melting off and everyone is like laughing. And then we drank the like soju in the beer, which is called a somak. And like they made us one and you drink. Oh, it was great. Good times. Really wish I could go back.
Ah, that sounds incredible.
It
Just
was, it was
jealous. I'm just jealous hearing about it.
well, if you bring your unicycle and you want to come ride along, well, you have to keep up with the bicycles. But
Whatever. I don't care about that. Oh,
or I mean, uh, Kirsten might bring her 36er. So then, if you guys want to do that, I'll still just bicycle. So I can be the pack mule.
yeah, that could be cool. Sorry, burps. The coffee burps are coming out. I have to keep them away from the mic.
Oh, you lean away from the mic to breathe in.
Yeah, I could just
Do you get the
huge
reference? Do you get
belch
the
into
reference?
the mic, but wait, sorry, say it again.
It's I lean away from the mic to breathe in. This is an old
Chocolate
reference.
rain.
Yes, A plus, my man.
And that's how
Thank you.
this gets removed from YouTube, right there. DMC claim, right there.
From the one,
Yeah, the one sentence. That's
two
how
words.
hardcore that algorithm is, you know? You hear that, YouTube? I don't care about you. I don't care about you, YouTube. This is going on
YouTube,
there because I have no
YouTube,
choice.
YouTube. Do you like birds?
Not for children. This is not for children. Hear that,
Oh,
YouTube?
yes, sorry.
Uh, yeah. Uh,
Hopefully this is far enough back in the podcast that everyone has left and no one
yeah, they don't care anymore. They're like this
Jesus.
conversation is so boring. Just two
Lame.
people catching up. Let me look through my book of questions, see if I get anything fun. Uh,
Look at the question. That sounds very D&D. It's always like a wand of something or a book of something or a cloak of billowing or
Jenny, have you ever broken a unicycle part?
sorry, but the way you delivered that line made me think of Airplane. I was like, Billy, have you ever seen a grown man naked? Sorry, I just rewatched Airplane recently. Broken a unicycle part. I do tend to bend or break my brake lever handles because I fall a lot, and then it falls directly on the brake lever, and then
It just
it
snaps
either
right
snaps
off.
off. That happened in Moab, like one, not even a mile in. So the rest, sorry, not at Moab, in Long Ride.
Porcupine Rim?
Yeah, yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah. And that's a bad one to have your brake
Right, yeah. I was
go
like,
out on as
oh,
well.
awesome. 12 more miles of basically downhill without a break. So that was fun. But mostly it just bends, so then I have this really like odd looking brake lever and then I have to get a new one.
Yeah.
So that's basically the only
I
thing I've broken because I'm such a chicken that I don't really I'm pretty nice to my
I
unicycles.
mean that's one that's just gonna break. It sucks because that anytime you fall at that unit cycle, it's just gonna tomahawk straight into the
Yep.
ground and break off. Hey, it's funny you said exactly the same. I went to ride for a Vancouver Muni event with Ryan Krumsader, and we're like we get to the top of the mountain after all of this riding. I'm like, okay guys, let gung ho, go off like the first rock. Thing tomahawks down and just snaps the lever like out of the suction cup, and then like luckily someone had some tape and I was able to like tape it up around the seat and still use it
Oh,
for the
okay.
rest of the ride. But yeah, I was just great. I'm glad I spent all my money on this for it to just immediately break first
Well,
ride.
and it's also
I don't,
because Shimano does not make those brake levers so that you can replace them. It's so stupid.
no.
If you want to replace
Yeah,
the brake
once it's
lever, you have to like
broken,
take the whole, yeah, you just have to replace the whole brake. I'm like, this
yeah.
is so freaking wasteful. Design better.
I am very I'm very fortunate. I went to my bike shop recently and I'm like, "Well, I think this lever's broken. What do you think?" And they're like, you know what? People have been buying so much junk that we have like 50 used hydraulic brakes in the back. It's like $13. Come down and we'll just like replace it for you.
Nice.
Which so I'm very blessed in that respect. I have a really good relationship with my local bike shop. I bought them, my bike shop, the adapters for the uh, truing stand, and I like gave them to the bike shop. So now, like whenever I go in to get my like wheel trued, they have the adapters, and so they charge me like way less money after that. And they've had other people. There's another guy in my town who also rides unicycles, and so now they have like a whole unicycle setup for their bike shop.
That's pretty nice. And I mean, knowing how hard you ride, it's you probably need to get your wheels retrued a fair amount.
It's common. I'm in there. I'm one of the named customers when I come in.
I think it's just because they like you, Phil.
I'm probably the only customer who always has to come in with his own spokes to get them replaced as well.
Yeah,
And they
'cause you have
come
the
in and
heavy.
I push it in and they're like, we don't have this. I was like, here you go. Here are the spokes that you'll need to fix it.
Nice.
Um, what has been your favorite unicycle moment working with an event? You've been someone who's helped organize. You've been someone who's helped with a lot of unicons and other events. At least that's how I've known you. You're always one of the faces that's working hard for unicycling.
Working hard or
So,
hardly
so
working.
what would you say is like maybe the most rewarding experience you've had working on a unicycle event? Don't you like these deep loaded, podcasty type questions?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm legit.
You are legit.
Because,
You are legit.
yeah.
I mean, honestly speaking, usually if at least for me, if I reflect back on like the organizing stuff, the stuff that comes first to mind is all the stuff that went wrong. And like the stress that you kind of are just like, it's all going wrong. And kind of that. Um,
And afterwards, everyone's like, "Oh, I had so much fun. That was so well organized." And you're like smoke's coming out your ears, and you're like, you don't know what I went through. You don't know what I experienced. So for your happiness.
Oh, no, Phil, you weren't in South Korea, right?
I wasn't.
Yeah,
I wish I
yeah.
was, though.
If only it was like that. But no. Yeah, no, it's not always that way. But that's a different story for a different day. What is a good? I mean, honestly, the memory I already told about the Korean barbecue is a really nice one because I mean, that was also again kind of because usually by the end of the event, we're all just wasted, not like drunk. I mean, it depends,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
usually
maybe.
we're just like, um, and everyone's just exhausted. So usually, like, you don't have as much energy, kind of. So I think that memory of the barbecue at the beginning was nice because we had everyone together, and it was also getting it because that was really like the only bit I experienced of Korea really was that, and I love that
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. I love like that sort of sharing of culture it, in an odd way. So that was really fun. Um,
Uh, your reaction just gave me an idea. So let's shift gears for a second. So like let's just shit on unicycling for a minute. Let's just shit on it.
just shit
So
all
like
over it.
yeah. So tell me, it's like what's that like some of the like without we're not gonna attack anyone or shit on people, but like what's some of the worst shit that's happened in unicycling? So yeah, like
Oh,
or
like
just
you.
so what sucks about unicycling? What's just like totally bullshit? You just hate it, like. Something stupid the unicyclists always have
How
to deal with at events.
every side, and it doesn't matter what country you're in because they do this in Denmark too, and in like the exact same words, you're missing a wheel, or like
Oh
where's
my
your other wheel?
god.
And what's so beautiful, and when I be beautiful, I don't mean it in the normal sense. I was actually frustrating as all get out. It's like, why is it the same word? Why is everyone like,
Yeah.
you're missing a wheel, or like, where's your other wheel? I'm just like, what is it about human nature that they're just like, oh, you must be missing one? And I'm just like, because you don't want to be mean because they don't mean to be unclever. It's just like when you've
No.
literally heard it hundreds of times before, you're just like, haha, no.
Yeah, if people say it to me now, I go, uh-huh, and just keep walking. And they're like, wait, don't you think it was funny? And you're like, no, I don't think anything's funny. I'm dead inside.
Sorry. That was an excellent delivery. Sorry that I ruined it by my explosive laughter.
No, it's great.
Um, yeah, no, usually what I just say is, no, I only need one with a smile, but I keep like writing.
I think for me, when I think about it, is like I've picked up
Hang on,
more
internet.
volunteering. It's
You're
fine, but
moving so slowly. You're moving really slowly.
uh,
All right, now you're back.
for anyone who thought that big moment of silence, we were testing our internet. I've started volunteering more and participating more in organization and actively helping at events. In Colorado in particular, I really tried to like not go on the rides and tried to help with more of the stuff, help tearing down the trials courses and things like that, asking where they need help and going to help with keeping times and all that jazz. And I think it's just maybe becoming an adult, but it's funny to look at what's happening in riding and be like, guys, come help us volunteer. And you see all the younger riders are like, nah, we're gonna go fuck around and have fun and do other stuff. And I'm like, oh god, that was me. I was that to unicycling, and you just can't like convince people to help out more, because like I had exactly this experience when I was that age, when I would pack up and go on the vacations to unicons, and I'm like, no, this is my vacation, this is my break from life, like I'm not gonna work on my vacation. And you're like, nah, but you still do need to work, like you still need to help out, it keeps the sport alive. And
Okay, that does remind me. So, oh, sorry, I cut you off.
go for it. No.
All
This
right,
is the
well,
nature of this
it's
stupid
related.
live, Skype recording bullcrap.
It's all good. That does, yeah. So one thing I think this isn't really a unicyclist thing. It's more of human nature in general. Is that people tend to forget how much work has to go into an event, and it doesn't matter if it's unicycling. It could be a concert. It could be anything where you're showing up and you're part of an audience, so to speak, or a competitor or something of that nature, is just, it takes a crap ton of work. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, like about Unicon, for example, is that the money, people complain about the money always. They're like, oh, it's so
Always,
expensive. Yes.
constantly.
Yep. There's that one thing, because it's like, oh, well, if you sign up for this event, then like, well, that's a different thing. But people don't realize is that it's actually relatively cheap. Like if you're spending like what, 250 euros for a 2 week event,
Oh yeah,
something like that.
people. It's almost all, even the most expensive ones. People don't understand it. For 2 weeks is so cheap. It's
Yeah.
so cheap.
I've gone to conferences where we've had to pay like 600 euros for 3 days or something. Like, and that doesn't include room and board. So I know that Unicon in that sense is actually insanely cheap. But the reason it's so cheap is that the volunteering is built in to, like, we
Totally.
assume that we can run this event through the power of volunteers. So when people show up, and then I've had this a couple times and it just drove me nuts, but it's just a misalignment of expectations, is because we would have some people that come to the volunteering desk, and then you say, hey, would you like to, we need some volunteers, can you please volunteer? And they just look at you and they're just like, no, like, why would I do this? I've paid for this event, therefore I shouldn't have to
Yeah.
contribute further. Which I get that, like, if you want to think that way, fine. But then I think we need to have a different pricing scheme for that. Like, either you
Yeah.
pick, you contribute with your body, or you
Yeah, like
contribute financially.
you I don't know, you don't volunteer at least, like, okay, it's 2 weeks long, so you don't volunteer at least 3 hours, and you have to pay an extra 100 euros or whatever the equivalent is, or something like
I
that.
mean, even like 30 euros is fine. Like, because
Yeah,
enough people would do that.
people are gonna hate me
But
for like an extra
that's
100 euros.
that's fine. I mean, whatever. But that's for, we've discussed that before as well. But I mean, that's just kind of one thing that I don't think people really realize. And like you were talking about in particular urban events, and I think that that is true for all disciplines. That sometimes, yeah, you just kind of forget. And it could also be an age thing. Like if you're a teenager and you're living with your parents and you're used to having things done for you in a certain way, then it would make sense that if you're an event, you don't think, oh, I need to help clean up. Or you don't, when you show up and everything's already set up, you don't realize how it looked before all that stuff was
Totally.
placed. So you don't think about cleaning up, because why would you clean up? It's just like it was when I got here. So
Yeah, I don't want to throw like Americans under the bus in particular, but I feel like, especially when you go to like European events or just unicons that are not in America, I feel like I myself included, no question, like have seen like some of us North American writers be like, oh, cleaning up, oh, where's the drinking happening, over here. But I don't know. It's probably the same. It's probably more an individual thing and not a regionally based thing.
it could
Uh,
very well be. At this point, it's been like coming on 2.5 years since I've been to a unicycle event, since Unicon 2018 was my last one. Like, good idea.
uh, would you entertain going to Paris?
When,
Not Paris.
what? Oh,
Uh,
Grenoble.
yeah, Grenoble.
That's
Will
that's
you
not till
entertain it?
20. That's 2022.
Yeah, but it's the next one.
Well, that was the plan. Yeah.
Okay, okay, just making sure.
Yeah. I was
If
the
I'm gonna,
plan. I was gonna go. I was actually supposed to be volunteer director, but as a co-volunteer, I should say. Elise is the main one, and I was gonna help. But in also in relation to this whole me stepping back from a bunch of unicycle things, I dropped out of that. Sorry, Elise. So
that's
luckily,
fine.
luckily Val is amazing and she stepped in. So I didn't just like leave them high and dry. I found a replacement. But yeah, so I do plan on being in Grenoble, but now that it's like a full 2 years, 1.5 years away, I don't know. Like the plan is to go, but I don't know where I don't know what color hair I'm gonna have in one and
Uh,
a half years. I
yeah,
could have
totally.
blue hair for all I know.
It, in a way, to me, it's almost relieving that there was a lot of pressure, I think, because they're every 2 years, to like have all my money saved up ready. I was like shopping for plane tickets really hard, and then like, of course, as the pandemic's coming on, I'm like, should I buy this plane ticket? Is it going to be refundable? And then luckily it all got cut, and I'm like, oh, thank God. So now I can like really, I'm going to be able to go to France and just, I'm going to be able to like eat out the whole time. I'm going to be able to buy myself a nice like hotel, to stay while I'm there, all this stuff, because I'm gonna be able to. It's so far away. I'm gonna really be able to save my money and like be prepared for it, and I'm
You don't want
excited
to
about that.
crash in a hotel room with like 5 other people that get wasted and barf all over the bathroom. Not that you've ever done this.
No, and I might still be okay with that. It's what this is not a criticism of Spain. This is not a criticism of how the event was organized. They did a great job with what they had to work with. But I think for myself, I will have to make sure I have access to a shower all the time,
Oh
wherever my
God, the
event is.
shower was.
Uh,
I think the shower was the
it's.
worst.
I think I'm just especially a sweaty individual. I know everyone sweats rights, but like as a 33-year-old man, I just need to be able to go back at the end of the day, and I also need to be able to shower. And then I just don't drink anymore either. So uh, I will hang out and I'll have fun with people. But like, man, even like as I like I'll have like one, a glass of wine or something, and I'll wake up in the morning after one glass of wine now and be like,
Oh really?
oh my god, yeah, because I stopped drinking for like well over a year, and
Yep.
then I kind of like would have someone like a birthday or a holiday, and even now and then I'll if everyone's having something, I'll have one, and I even now it's like all the pleasure is gone from it for me. It tastes good in the moment, and then all the pleasure is gone after that.
Fair. What if
Hmm.
what if you got like a sober group together and then you just guys just split the Airbnb?
That'd be fine, and I don't care about if people want to party at my place. That's all fine. I like to stay up late and hang out and do all that kind of stuff. I just you know got young people. No one wants to admit it, but you get older, you just get more tired. You just are more tired. You don't even want it. Like I see like I'm like, oh man, I'm getting so tired. God, how you look at it like it's like 8:30, and you're like, oh God, what's happening to my mind and my body? And you don't even wish it on yourself. It just
It
happens.
just happens. You
And you
just
know what?
become old.
People told it was going to happen your whole life too, and you didn't believe them. And then especially with like daylight savings time and all that stuff, and over here, you're like it's dark out. I'm feeling sleepy. And you look at the clock and it's like 6:45, and you're like, oh God, I'm an adult, aren't I?
Yup.
uh, Jenny, I think we're getting there. Give me like your final thoughts on unicycle world. Is it a thing you've always like thought about the unicycle world? Is there things you'd want to change? Is there a shift in unicycle? Yeah. Is it bigger to you now? Is it smaller? I imagine it's different in Denmark. There's probably a lot more unicyclists than there are like concentrated here in the United States by comparison. What are your
Hmm.
final thoughts on unicycling and how it feels for you? Maybe the
I
future.
think this is okay. This has been said countless times before, but I'm going to say it again anyway. I am consistently amazed at the people in the unicycling community in a positive way. Like, I don't understand how unicyclists can be so awesome. Um, you're frozen, aren't you?
Nope. I just am really good at
Okay,
holding still.
just your face is frozen. That's good. No, because you're blinking right now on my screen. So I'll continue my moving monologue. Um, no, but really, I think it doesn't. Regardless of kind of my feelings about the unicycle itself and whatever issues I get to work through. You're unfrozen, by the way. Um, I'm very happy that the community is what it is, and that I have met so many amazing people around the world that do it. So I think that's really really cool, and it's yeah, I don't know where it's gonna go for me personally. That's a choice that I get to work through, but um, I have been very thankful for what it's given me so far.
Well, that's incredible. And then my last question, just this came to me in this moment. Do you think? What do you think would need to change in unicycling to bring it more into the mainstream, or is that probably something that just won't happen?
I don't think it can, and I'll tell you why. I think the learning curve is too high, and I don't think that should change. It's just the nature of what it is. I mean, and then actually we could get into a whole discussion of culturally, like why, for example, other countries have a lot more unicyclists than others, and then also how it's reflected in the type of unicycling they do and the type of unicycling they compete in, and yada yada yada. But that's a different topic.
Yeah, we could do more episodes, Jenny. We could do more episodes later.
Yeah, because
You know,
this one's not boring
yeah,
enough.
yeah. I think this is fun. This is fun. I think people like are gonna think that like like this happened too with Ed Hawks and me is like we started talking and then we started down one subject and then another and we're like we can't talk about there's not enough time to talk about all of this like we I even had like 2 hours set aside and
Yeah.
we're like there's so many subjects we can expand upon so we can just come
Yeah.
back and talk to about this especially I think it's nice to hear your perspective it's nice to hear your perspective especially as a female writer probably not a sponsored female writer uh, because I think we could all admit that sometimes unicycling is a little dude heavy, you know.
Depends on the discipline. I mean, freestyle is the opposite.
Totally.
Freestyle is female heavy. But that goes okay. I think, in my opinion, that goes back to culture and expectations as well.
Sure.
To use Denmark as an example, it's actually quite interesting. Um, trying to think how to that's going to be too complicated to explain because then I have to explain a bunch of things about culture that might yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we'll do a whole episode that's like
a
unicycle
whole
culture.
episode
We'll do
on
that.
unicycling around the world. Unicycling, yeah, we can talk about that. That'd be fun. Um, but yeah, so I guess, but the girls not going into street urban, well, literally everything except freestyle, basically. Um, that's kind of a standard thing that's not specific to unicycling. That's just the street and urban culture in general. Like how many, if you look at skateboarders, how many of them are female? It's a minority. Um, Pretty much. So that's just the nature of our culture. And then my personal theory is that it's then reflected in that. So yeah. But yeah, so and kind of the question that you asked is like, what needs to happen to make it more mainstream? Or I actually don't think it needs to be more mainstream. Part of the joy of unicycling is that you get to meet someone else that does it. And you're just like, you do this weird thing too? That's amazing. Why don't you just like come over to my house? We've never met, but it doesn't matter. Do you need a bed? I have a bed. Like that sort of thing
Totally. That's my favorite
is
thing
really
about
only
it.
possible because of yeah.
When I travel, I feel like I hardly ever have to like sincerely book a hotel or anything. It's almost always easy to like find someone to stay with or someone else who rides or let you crash there or even just park in their driveway or something like that. Uh, and I feel like I think I've talked about this a lot before, but I feel like climbing is weird because it has definitely hit the mainstream. When I started climbing, not pretty. I would say late to the game. Like 2000 is like when I started climbing, and it was still pretty small. Like you go to the gym, and that's like the same group of people you see every day. And now there are so many people who climb at the gym or did climb at the gym when it was open. That like no, even though I work there every day, there's tons of people who don't know who I am, and I'm there every day, and that's just crazy. It's like a huge explosion, and in some ways, I feel like climbing won't be the same for me that way again. It won't be that type of community the way that unicycling I think is probably going to stay. And I kind of like look back on climbing finally and like kind of miss the days when it was a little smaller, a little bit more like only people who really worked to climb rocks and not necessarily just do it for exercise and pleasure or just only do it in the gym. Uh, it's not like that anymore. Now it's like go into the gym. Everybody does it.
Phil Sanders. There's something that we have not discussed at all.
Oh God.
Do you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend?
I do. I do. And are we taking this into the podcast or are we closing it? We can keep talking after.
Okay, we can
After
close
this.
it. We can close it.
Okay, we're gonna call this an episode.
Woo!
I need to figure this out in the beginning where I tell people, okay, we're gonna say goodbye, and then I'm gonna stop recording, and then we're gonna keep talking afterwards. I keep forgetting to do that bit. But okay, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for talking with me, Jenny.
Yay! Thanks for having me.
I figured out that I have to let this go for a little bit before I hit stop.
Hey!
And